Well, hello again, and welcome back to another episode of the RC Barn. Today, I am working on the Mistress Quickly again. Over the past week, I've went ahead and hinged everything. Got the elevator all hinged, glued up, and everything. And the ailerons, the new ailerons, they came out really nice. See that? So anyways, I've been kind of working on this tail section a little bit more, and I did get decided to go deep into this and redo the tail section of it. I didn't like the wood that they used, balsa, to put the elevator, attach the elevator to. You should really use hardwood when you're, securing, wings and tails and stuff like that. Not that it needs it, but it does make getting to the control horn in here, elevator control horn, access easier if you can remove the tail. So when I keep going with the original design, also when I bolted it in place, it was over a 1/2 inch off, diagonal like this. And so I didn't want that either, because that could do some weird things in flight. So you want them as straight as possible. I usually try to get them within 1/8 of an inch, or even better would be dead on. So I thought I'd show you guys where I was at here. It's Saturday morning, and I went ahead and glued these blocks up. I didn't have I didn't have big enough spruce to put some 1032 bolts into, so I went ahead and glued these up. These are spruce 1/4 by 1/2, and I just glued epoxy two of them together, and then on my belt sander I cleaned them up, let them sit overnight, and then anyways, my little tidbit of information is if you look at the grain structure, if it'll focus here, see that grain structure, how it's horizontally. You want to drill, when you tap a hole, you want to drill horizontally into those, like so. Since my grain structure is going left to right here, I want to go up and down. I would not want to do it this way, because then that is going to make the wood split, if that makes any sense. So like if you were doing servo rails, which this is half of this material, 1/4 by 1/2 is good for servo rail material. You wouldn't want to do it on the flat. You'd want to do it on the 1/4, which it would still work just fine. But just keep in mind that when you're drilling and tapping on blocks and stuff like this, you want to pay attention to your wood grain structure. And so anyways, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get this set up, and I'm going to epoxy those blocks in here. They'll fit in here just like so. Like that, one on each side. And then I will pin my elevator in. I'm going to go ahead and fill these holes that were made previously with some dowel rod, and then I'll get the elevator mounted up here. I'll triangulate the corners off of the firewall and make sure it's straight with the fuselage. Make sure it's straight side to side. Make sure I got equal lengths on each side, and then I'll drill and tap my holes. So anyways, I'll probably do a lot like I did last time, and I'll bring you back when I get all that done, because it's gluing, and this little tedious work like this is what takes the most time. Hoping to have this thing done this weekend, and ready to go up in the air. Again, we got to address the landing gear situation. I got to fix for that with some Dubro hardware. And then we got to build I'm going to probably try to find a used tank to throw on this thing. I got to make a couple hatches, and then elevator control rod need to find it and put it back in place, and set a radio up and balance, and she'll be pretty much ready to fly. So Anyhow, I'll bring you back here. It'll probably take me a couple hours to get all this done with these blocks and letting the epoxy set up. I'm just going to use some 5-minute. Nothing. Don't need nothing real. Don't need no 30-minute back here. So, anyways, we'll see you in a bit. All right. So I went ahead and got the blocks glued in. You don't have to be perfect, you just got to be there. Went ahead and made a front hatch. I'll show you guys that here in a few. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and set up this rear elevator. And I've already double checked. And I went ahead and put my dowels in the center section there. Wrong way. Fill the holes. I just wanted to show you guys like how I go about setting the rear end up. Now I've already checked to make sure that my blocks don't interfere with the elevator movement here. Get you in a little closer here. There we go. So, what I need to do, that tape measure here just a minute ago. There it is. Tape measure. And we got 24 inches across, so the 12-inch mark is going to be our center, of course. So, stay put. It's going to be like right there. I should have put some tape on this so I can mark. I don't know if I even have any. I don't even think I have any tape here. Oops. Well, anyhow. Just gotta kind of eyeball this. Digger in a little bit. We'll kind of center that up on our fuselage here. That looks pretty close right there. You want to get it to the point where you're happy with the fitment, but more importantly, it's straight this way. Oh, I might have give you the bigger picture here. There we go. It's straight this way. So what I like to do is measure off the sides here. Got 11 inches there. Should have 11 inches here if we're centered. Yep, I'm kind of watch that eagle eye, you know. Always go with your. Now I'm not going to go to these corners here. I'm going to go to the corners on a stabilizer. And what I'm doing is I'm going to go up front here. Get you front view. And I'm going to go off of this point here. Like that. I'm going to measure back. It's kind of hard to get everything in one camera angle here. Like this. We got 41 and a quarter. And then I'll come over here, measure the same on the opposite side of the firewall that I did. We'll measure here. Well, look at that. Oh, 41 and a quarter. Let's double check our measurements here. Know what they say, measure once. So I'm going back to back here now. You got 43 and 15/16. And we should have the same here. Yep. So wow, that didn't take much. So anyways, what I like to do if I had to move this around is I like to take and put a clamp right here at the top like you see, and then you can move this back and forth like this to get equal measurements when you're front to back, and that way you know you're parallel with your thrust line. That's the whole point of this. Now, different models, different techniques. I mean, you know, around cow, you know, you can find a center line on your firewall. I've done that, and then put a small screw on that center line in the front. You can measure off of that. So I mean, there's lots of. This is the simplest way that I've ever had to do it. So at this point, we're going to make sure that we got full elevator movement, that our control horn is not going to hit anything. We're good there. It's up, it's down. We're good there. See where our, try not to move this too much. It's so pretty much dead on. And what I'm doing here is I'm looking to see like where my blocks are at, where I might drill me a hole in there. So anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this set up like this. I'm going to drill a couple holes straight down through. I'm going to try to pick up the hard points, the dowel rod. Not completely necessary, but it'll help hold it just a hair better. So anyways, there you go, setting up the elevator on the Mistress quickly. As far as the hatch goes, show you that here real quick. All it is, let's see, up there. All I did is I put 3 screws in the front down through the firewall. This has got a nice thick firewall on it. Again, I'm just using my servo screws here. These are great screws for holding stuff down like hatches. Two probably would have been sufficient, but I like to put one in the center, just personal taste there. Keep it nice and flat, keep the air out of the inside. So what I got here is just a piece of 1/8 inch ply, and I cut it out on my bandsaw, and I shaped the corners there, and I took a piece of scrap of 1/8 inch ply and just glued it to the back side, and that'll help keep the back in, and had to decorate it a little bit. B's for bottom. And then what you do to install it is you just flip underneath here, center it, throw your 3 screws in, and you're done. I'll cover this pink. On the bottom, I can show you that a little bit later, but I'm also going to put a hatch on the bottom. On the bottom, I like it to be maybe a little bit thicker. So what I'll probably do is, take me a piece of plywood. It ain't got to be. The only reason why I chose 1/8 inch is because this is 1/8 inch top. So that way it lines up there. You could get away to do that with 1/16 inch and it'd be fine. On the bottom, I'll probably use 1/16 inch plywood to bury my screws into, and then I'll put the wing on there and figure out how thick I want it. Like, I can put 1/2 inch on there balsa. I can sand the radiuses in it. You know, I got quite a bit of the wing that is going down below the fuse. I like to fill that in a little bit. The bottom hatch will not be taken off as much as I would say the top. Bottom's just going to have a battery in it. Top will have the fuel tank in it. It'll make fuel tank maintenance pretty easy that's what you want on a sport plane, is easy maintenance. So we'll you know, do that. I'll go through, and after hearing a bit, another thing you can do is throw some thin CA down in these holes, let it dry really good, and then run your screws back down and bring them back out, and that'll harden your threads in there, so that way you don't pull your threads out if you haven't over tighten it if you're in a hurry. But anyhow, there's a little update on there. I'm gonna find me some nylon bolts to put back there, preferably 1032 or something along those lines. Don't need quarter 20. Be way overkill. Wide nylon. If you have a oopsies and on landing or something, and you catch a elevator or catch, usually on your landing gear and your wing, you put nylon out because the nylon will break, and you won't bust up your fuselage or whatnot. So you do that on aluminum landing gears. You can put a couple quarter 20 bolts in there on normal everyday landings, even some hard ones that it'll hold up. But if you're really if you forget to flare in and you just pancake it in, you'll rip the landing gear out. You'll probably screw your prop up, but you can go in there, you can pull the bolts out, and you're not having to re-epoxy landing gear blocks back in and stuff. I don't know that it's that important on the tail. Most tails are glued in, so probably just keep with the nylon. I'm pretty sure I got a bag of 1032 nylon upstairs. So anyhow, there's that. I'll break you back when I got some word to show you. All right, so we got the tank made, and now it's time. I'm more focusing on the front end of the Mistress Quickly here. Excuse me. Grab a drink of water here. So what we're going to do now is get the throttle linkage hooked up. So what I got here is now you can't get this from Great Plains anymore, obviously, unfortunately, but I got a 24-inch flexible cable push rod here. You can get these from Dubro and Sullivan and the likes. A lot of guys don't like this stuff because it takes you got to follow some techniques here, and it involves soldering. So anyways, the reason why I'm going with the 24-inch flexible line is instead of just a standard 256 rod, because it's a pretty short run of making. I don't have to have this for length or anything. I have this for the flexibility of it, because I got to take, and when I come across it's got to do something like this around the wing. So I'm going to show you guys how I prep one of these. So I got a little bit of paste flux here. We're going to solder on this connection here. Now this is the connector we're going to solder on here. And it's got a 256 end. It's empty in the inside. And we're going to solder it onto the thing. You don't have to be scared of this. You just got to, if you don't know how to solder, it's not that hard. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit more in there. And we'll slide this on. Like so. I already got my iron heated up. I just got a little pencil style heater. Now I got a better one, but unfortunately I left it at work. I love using my other one. This one's my go-to. So anyways, all you want to do is you want to heat up the end like right here. And this has already been plugged in and hot. Just want to make sure. Now the flux, what that does is it just makes everything clean. That's the biggest thing with doing a solder joint like this, is making sure it's clean. You can see some smoke coming off over. And you want to leave your hit tip at the end. You don't want to touch. Now this will melt instantly. Usually. See? That'll melt pretty quick. That'll give you a cold solder joint. You want to heat the outside of it up, and when it gets hot, it'll start flowing into here. You see, there it goes, starting to bubble out the flux. Sometimes it takes a minute. You can also do this with a torch. You might end up doing that. my tip isn't the best. It's a well used soldering iron. See if we can. The hell. When it starts going, it'll just start going. Biggest thing here is patience. Might not be getting enough heat in there. Yep, that's what's going to happen. Well, I think I'm going to have to end up getting a new tip for my gun. So let's don't particularly like doing it with the torch, but it does work. I got my propane torch here. Oh, yeah, let's catch the airplane on fire, sure. Okay. It'll just suck it right in. That's all it takes. Let that cool off for a minute. Yeah, I caught the airplane on fire. Ain't that nice? Wanna see? Oops. Okay. Now, if you don't have one of these, they are handy. I think you can get them at Harbor Freight now. So anyways, there's that. That's what it looks like when it's all done. You want to make sure you got her nice and soldered in there nice and good. I'll do a little test tug here. Yep. I guarantee you that the roll servo will not pull that hard. So the next thing we got to do is, if I can get you in here. So this is the outer sheathing. I drilled a hole in the firewall to line up with my throttle cable here, or my carburetor. This is going to be underneath here is the battery. The fuel tank will be on top of here, so it won't intrude in there. And you can see why I went with this, because a hard wire would be hard to get kind of this flex out of it. It's got to go down, over, and back across, kind of like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this to length. I'm probably going to go a little on the long side, and it should be plenty right there. I don't have the engine on right now, but we can line it up here in a minute. Thread that through. We'll go ahead and put got a quick link here somewhere. There it goes. Quick link, plastic quick link. Make sure your rod's nice and cooled off before you put this on. And see, we're gonna have to already shorten this up. That should be pretty right there. Get the motor. Set this in here. Throw a bolt on it. so. Make sure we have, oh yeah, I don't remember where we were at, but I know that thing's stuck. She is stuck closed, so it'll open up that way. I don't know if I can work this a little bit or not. There it goes. Throttle. Go down to closed right there. And we'll run that up to there. I don't know if you can see that or not. You want your sheathing to be away from it so when it opens, we'll have to adjust that a little bit. I might have bent it when I was trying to. Yeah, I like that. We get some feel in that thing. It'll. So anyways, we're there. I'm going to go ahead and put some CA on this joint here. If I can find it. There's a bottle. So I'll pull it away a little bit. Put some CA on there. Shove it back in. There, that's glued. And then we'll come over here to the engine bay, or to the servo bay. How's that? There we go. You can see how long we are. Now the rod end that I'm going to use, you'll only see me use these on throttle servos, is this little guy right here. Get, oh way. There we go. And that's just a Debro keeper. I don't remember what you call them, but this just, there's a little hole here. It slides into there like so. Okay, now when I'm setting my throttle linkage up, you gotta remember we're going this way and we're closed right now. And on throttle, you want it kind of back here on the back side of the throttle, because when the servo moves, it'll go up here, back and forth like that. So now I want the sheathing to be as close as I can to it, but not interfere with it. I'm going to push it down to where it's kind of in place here. And I think we'll mark it right there. Take this off. Take it out. We'll snip our guide tube here on that mark. Don't have to be super accurate, just got to be short enough, but long enough that it's going to give it support. Because I'll probably end up adding a piece of balsa standoff down here to support the end a little better. I'll go ahead and throw this back in. Reconnect it to our throttle carburetor there. We'll get this back into place. And set it off to here somewhere. So obviously this is way too long. We want to be like right here. I want to cut it back here. I want to leave myself some length so I can readjust this. So when I adjust it, I make sure I got plenty of length. God, I wish I would have brought some damn tape over. I have a Sharpie. Let's measure it. That I do have. Go with 11 inches off. Okay, so back over here. That looks pretty good. Measure off 11 inches. We're gonna solder this in the middle here. Use the solder to eyeball it. The area that we need to solder it in. Should have left that little one plugged in. But this will probably work alright for. Then what we're gonna do is tin it. So we'll try it with the torch, see what happens. Yeah, that's what I figured was going to happen. It's just too hot for the wire. Wish I'd have brought my good one. Clean the tip off a little bit here. Just take some sandpaper and don't look too bad. See if we can get it to flow. Like I said, a little patience goes a long ways. There we go. See? It was all up there. The biggest thing is you just want to fill the cavities in here. You want to make this kind of solid. It doesn't take much to hold these together. I think you can get at what I'm doing here. So anyways, when you do this, you don't want to add to the diameter of it. You just want it to go into the and hold the coils together, because this is braided wire. So anyways, by doing this, you'll be able to take this and cut it to length. And by cutting it to length, it won't do the old, that. It won't fray, I guess you would say. And so anyways, you just want to tin it. Still want to see the braid in there. That's pretty good. I'll get you in here a little closer so you can see what's going on. See. There you go. See, we didn't really add to it. You don't want to add to the girth of it, because then you won't be able to get it through the sheath. So, anyways, that should be cold by now. Yep. Go ahead and measure back off our 11 inches that we had. Right there. Okay. And then I'm going to see if the cutoffs will get it. Oh, why? I think... Here's my... I wonder where my cutoff wheel for my Dremel went. Remember, 10 minutes you do something, you're going to spend 20 minutes looking for something. Huh. Anyways, let's see if the cutoffs will get it. I usually use my Dremel and with a cutoff wheel in it, but I don't have the foggiest idea what I did with my mandrel. Look at that. And see, that's what you end up with. And that thing is full of solder. But I didn't add to the girth of it. The only thing I don't like about using the cutoff is it flattens it out at the end. I don't know if you can pick that up or not. So, you take your pliers and make it kind of round again. And we'll put it, let's see if I did it right. Like I said, that's the only thing I don't like. With a cutoff, you can cutoff wheel, you can that won't happen. There you go. I mean, it might be a little bit of a tight fit, but there we go. We busted out the other side, like so. And take this back off. Watch it not fit here now. Well, I'm going to have to get a bigger. They make bigger ones. Anyways, you get the gist of it. We'll get that in there. I'll make a little standoff in here to help support this here. You want to support these flexible wires as much as you can. Usually 3 points through a whole section of this, so I'll probably make myself a little piece of balsa wood and put it in that hole right there where see the hole right there? Probably not. I'll make myself a piece of balsa wood and put a hole in it, tap it on there, and that'll hold that in, and then another one down here to get the bend that I need. And that's all there is to it. It's not much, not hard to do it. Now they do send you this. Get you out of there. They do send you this. This is a solder quick link. You can't put these in. All I gotta do is slide it in here. Slide it on your cable here. And you would obviously solder this onto the rod in much the same way that you put the threaded end on. I don't like those. I don't like the adjustment of it. It gives you one adjustment point on one end of the thing. I like to have adjustability on both ends. I like to make my linkages a little on the long side, so that way, you know, heaven forbid, this plane's probably got an expiration date on it. Hopefully not for a really long time. But when it finally does go in, it'll probably be, you know, I'll take all this apart. I'll take the nye rods out of it. I'll take the clevises off of it. Anything that's salvageable on a plane that has crashed. And, you know, the longer it is, the more chances you have of being able to reuse that rod in another airframe, because there's nothing wrong with this. This stuff doesn't hardly wear out. So, anyhow, there's how-to on doing a stranded push rod wire for your throttle. Don't really use them anywhere else. They don't usually sell them long enough to use them on rudder elevator, and plus you'd have to have really good access to it to support it properly. So anyhow, hope you enjoyed that one. Again, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to comment that down in the comment section down below, and we will catch you on the next one.